Good morning, Florida Vacation Network. I'm Rob from Disney Connections, and I'm here today to just hang out and give you news and notes and food and all the stuff that you need to plan your Florida vacation. And, you know, guess who's back? Welcome in. What's up? You're back
I
on
got
dry land.
I got the day after cruise blues.
Oh, so sad. I'm so
Yeah,
sad.
back on dry land. What are you gonna do? It was amazing though. It was so
Was it?
good.
It
Yeah.
looked amazing. You were sending me pictures and video and all sorts of fun stuff, and we're actually going to get into that today. So
Recap day.
recap day. So uh uh you got back kind of midday yesterday, did all the things that you had to do, laundry and take care of business at home and you know, I was going to go into the park today, but I had some stuff to take care of. So I thought that we would take this opportunity to just kind of recap your week out on a cruise, on location. Uh, we won't call it vacation. If we call it on location, then you can just write that cruise off.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, no, I wanted to recap it all because we just really didn't get a chance to cover everything, just because of the Wi-Fi connection troubles. It was just in and out, and it's odd because I remembered before we started this, I couldn't remember if StreamYard was the tough one or if YouTube was the tough one, and I think it was StreamYard because I know that I've gone live from there before, so we'll have to figure something else out for the next cruise, which is already booked, thanks to you
right.
guys.
Oh, we'll talk about that later, but yeah, not
Yeah.
just cruising.com.
Yeah, but yeah, we got the next one booked, and I'm looking forward to it. Why does my camera seem a little off? And yeah, we got this. Um, yeah, so the next one we started doing a little research that we're finally going to be on another different MSC ship. So we've been on the Divina, we've been on the Mirabilia a bunch of times, and now we're going to be on the Seaside. And started looking online last night at some pictures of that ship, and holy cow, might have a new favorite ship.
Really?
It looks amazing.
That's awesome.
Th-
Now, you said
Yeah,
you're gold members, right?
yeah, but our next cruise will be Diamond.
What?
The next
Wow.
cruise we're going to be Diamond. Yeah, it's we've
Yeah,
been
you
moving
were
on
saying
up.
that, and I realized our cruise status. I'm lead status, so basically, if
Barnacle.
it goes down, they don't even throw us a life vest. So yeah.
Hey, Susan, welcome in. I wanted to say that, but our next one is beginning of October. So we have a little ways to wait, and we'll see if we can actually wait that long and not book one in between there. So we'll see. We just wanted to make sure we had one on the books. Um, Kind of a little leery to go in the middle of summertime when there could be way more kids on there, but the itch might start to itch too much, and we'll just have to bite the bullet and go. So we'll see
Yeah,
what happens.
I mean, disregard hurricane season. That's fine. I just don't want to deal with all the kids. So
We were talking to people on the ship, and there was a couple on there that was on the Mirabilia during a hurricane, and they actually, the cruise ship turned off all the TVs so that people wouldn't be able to watch the news and realize they were in a hurricane. Um,
are
they
you?
knew it was windy and stormy, but they turned all the TVs off so they wouldn't cause any panic, and it was completely fine. Apparently, as long as the ship is at sea, it's completely fine as long as it's not at a port getting beat up against the dock. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was fine. They said it was, it was choppy and bumpy, but it's not like anything flew off the steel ship. It was totally fine. So that doesn't
yeah.
scare me. After talking to them, I'm not nervous about hurricane season on a cruise ship anymore. As long as we're not like stuck in a shallow port like Belize was really, really shallow. I would not want to be anywhere near there if a hurricane came through. But yeah,
Well, I
but
think
yeah,
that's why, well, they send those ships out to sea when the hurricane, for them.
yes.
Yeah, you get them out there, because they're big and they can take a lot. You probably don't want to go through the hurricane. They probably navigate and stay on the peripheral, I would think.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, yeah, but it was amazing. So yeah, we did. Our favorite part is always the private island. That is definitely our favorite
Wait,
stop.
wait, wait. I haven't started asking you any questions yet.
Oh, I was
That's
just
like
having a conversation.
question number 2. I told you I had some questions prepared. Um, but before we get to our questions, um, I want to just kind of cover some of the same stuff that we cover here, starting with a little bit of weather, because I don't know if you well, I mean, you got off your ship yesterday, and you got back to Orlando, and found that it
Somebody
was
left the heat on.
it was a little bit steamy. Yeah, somebody left the
Yeah.
heat on. Currently it is 77 degrees out, but it has a potential high today of 93, y'all. 93 um in March.
Yeah.
What we like to call this here in Florida is first summer. We call this first summer. I think we just hit the 90s like 2 days ago. And I felt it for the first time really yesterday. We were out and about, and I couldn't believe, like, we haven't hit the humid weather yet. Like the humidity was still somewhat kind of bearable yesterday. Um, but but it was definitely like warm. Like I was warming up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were just talking about this backstage. All my trees are dying because we haven't had rain in like months. I mean, we've got little sprinkles, but usually Florida, you get, like an hour a day throughout the summer. But we've had just a drought. Our pool keeps emptying itself from evaporation, and so yeah, so we still have a dry heat, but yeah, it's getting spicy. Our pool's warming up, so that's good. But
That's good. So when it gets back up to that 92, you can get in it.
absolutely, yeah. Once it's bath water, then I'm getting back in the pool. We checked it this morning. It's at 84 this morning. So by the time the sun goes down, it should be around 88. So we should be good tonight.
Okay. Oh, you'll get in it at 88. You'll
Yeah,
zap.
that's the line I draw in the sand.
Oh, I love it. So if you're ever going over to Chris's house to go in the pool, you need to take, your back scrubber and your rubber ducky and your shower cap, because he doesn't have a pool in his backyard. He has a really big bathtub.
Yeah, it's not that big.
Okay, you're right. It's really not that big.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
yeah, no, we don't have to focus on the weather, but I just thought that was interesting that come this last few days, um, it's been a little bit spicy. So we're we're
Yeah.
we're we're getting into it.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to cool down in a couple days, so which shouldn't be too bad. We're just a little spicy for a couple days.
Yeah. Uh
Yeah, coffee sounds good.
oh my goodness gracious. Wait, what's that cup? Oh, that's one of those Mouseketeer cups. Yeah,
Yep.
I love that. We have those too.
The whole time on the cruise, just the first day that we did the live on Monday, Mary and I had coffee on the cruise, and for some reason after that, we forgot to have coffee for the rest of the cruise. We came home yesterday and put a pot on as soon as we got home because we're like, oh my gosh, we haven't had coffee all week.
Oh
That's
my
crazy.
gosh.
Yeah,
How,
I don't know. We never do that.
how in the world?
I don't know. Weird things.
Oh, I had have to find that.
So I was just looking at our schedule for scooters and and for rides and stuff like that. I've got a ride tonight, but we've got uh, dad builds coming in to Florida soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna be cool. I can't wait to meet him finally and hang out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. The last time he was in town, I was unable to meet up with him. We were busy, and I kept trying to get into the park. And I think I was in the same park with him on one day, but I literally ran in. I picked up some stuff. I ran out, and then I got back to the car. I realized, I think Dad Builds was here today. Oh,
That happened to you guys and us at one time. We before we ever were like hanging out and stuff. We knew who each other was, from YouTube. But I think we were both in Galaxy's Edge at the same time on the other side of like the middle building. because you saw our live and you're like, we were there at the. That was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
that was Disneyland. That was
Oh,
Disneyland.
that's right. That was Disneyland.
Yeah, that was Disneyland Valentine's Day weekend,
Yeah.
right just before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been Valentine's Day 2020. Yep. And
Yeah. That was crazy.
you had footage and I had footage, and I went in and I was analyzing it. I was like, okay, where's the shadow at? So what time of day? I was really geeking out about it.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. We run into people all the time. It's crazy how small. I mean, it's not that small of a world. A lot of our friends like Disney, so but yeah, it's cool. Hey, my work phone's ringing.
Oh, that's a
That's
that's
good.
a good thing. All right. Well, I got a couple things I want to cover. So let's do just a little bit of news, and then we're going to get in to your cruise after the news. So let's check this out.
Cool.
Whoo! I just barely got that slide up. I didn't realize that I wasn't in full screen over there. But those of you that were on Friday, you'll recognize this slide. This is the artwork for the brand new um, Little Mermaid, the Little Mermaid live action movie that's going to be coming out, I believe, in May. We may or may not play a little trailer for it here in just a little bit. But I had some new news about this, and that is Haley Bailey. No, Halle. Yeah, Halle Bailey. She was here in Walt Disney World this past week for the Disney Dreamers Academy. She was an ambassador, and so she was going through the park, doing some meet and greets, and just making a bunch of princesses' lives better. And so I wanted to give a shout out to Haley there, and that was pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's one thing that with this movie coming out, they've really had her in the parks quite a bit, and I really think it's a good move because I'm looking forward to this movie, and I know a lot of kids are looking forward to this movie. So getting her out there in the parks, getting it amped up, getting people ready for it, I think that's a very smart move. Disney doesn't do dumb stuff usually.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I mean they
Yeah.
do in it. I've talked about this a little bit here and on our show, and then I don't know if y'all checked out Space Mountain Dave this weekend, but Melanie and I were
I did.
this show. You did, you were checking us out from the cruise.
Yep.
But the mid '90s, the Disney Renaissance is when I came in, and Little Mermaid was one of those movies in there, and I was really excited when they were talking about the live action Lion King, and I don't know that it came off as good as I really wanted it to. I don't know. Did you see the live action Lion King?
I did. I saw it actually in a drive-in theater. Um,
Oh,
which was kind of a cool experience, except for
okay.
we had a crowd of kids around us that were being a little loud. But kids will be kids.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I just was surprised that how word for word it was. I was kind of expecting it to maybe mix it up a little bit. You know what
yeah,
I mean? But no, I like them. It's like you said, the '90s. So the '90s for me is Michael Eisner, Disney decade. The big things that that happened in Disney happened in the '90s. That's when Animal Kingdom opened. Like they opened uh, MGM Studios. They opened the cruise lines. They had that's when Disney Springs came to life when it was downtown Disney with Pleasure Island and Disney West Side and all that kind of stuff. They advanced so much in Disney in the '90s. That's in my opinion really what put Disney fully on the map and on the road to take over all these other big companies. That's what
yeah.
really lit the fire under the company was the '90s and Michael Eisner.
Yeah, people had opinions of Michael Eisner, and I think honestly, I think Disney is moving back to that era and that kind of feel. I don't know who Eisner was as a business person. I mean, he might have had a business sense, But I don't think that that was his main job. I think his job was the visionary for the company. His job was the face for the company, and I think he was a lot like we are, where we just have these crazy ideas and okay, let's go figure it out. And
Yeah.
I would still, I mean, I think the cruise line, honestly, I think the cruise line came out of his idea of putting Disney parks on cruise ships. Did you know
Yep.
about that idea?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so what you said about not sure if he was the brain part of it. So really, Michael Eisner's Disney Decade, the reason it worked so well, in my opinion, is because Michael Eisner was the Walt. He was the idea guy. And, just like Walt had Roy, Michael Eisner had Frank Wells. Frank Wells was the money man. So
right.
um, they were freed up to do their jobs properly and didn't have to worry about both sides. They each had their one side. One guy had ideas, the other guy said we can do it or we can't.
Right.
And
What are you talking about?
it worked. That was I Iger did a great job, but I think Iger could have done a better job had he been a two-man team. I've been saying that forever.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think Iger took what Eisner, all these names it sounded like, right? I think he took
Uh,
what he had built, through the Disney Renaissance, and he held on to it and he kept it strong, and he was great in that part of it. But then that transition into Chapek, I think it lost mission. And
right.
um, I've been saying it for a couple of years now. I think Josh Tomorrow is the next face of Disney. Um, and I
I,
backed off of it for a minute because of he's not the financial guy, but he's
yeah,
so loved in the parks. Like the cast members love him, the guests love him. I think he might be the next Eisner, maybe.
I hope that's true. Here's my only issue with that is generally when somebody goes into that top spot, they've spent time in all of the areas, and he just hasn't spent time with the biggest problem child, which is Disney Plus. He's a parks guy, and he's great at it, and people love him. And he's traveling the world, going to all the parks, and putting in his time. But in order to run the company that has so many facets, you have to know all of those facets, or have the people in place. It's a tough spot because he's got parks hands down, but there's so much more to Disney as a whole than just the parks. Not that we only care about the parks, but we really care about the parks. So that's, we love him for that. But Disney, to stay as powerhouse as it is, needs to be multifaceted, and somebody needs to fix Disney Plus.
Yeah, well, and I mean that was, you know, I I don't know. I mean, did Chapek think that this pandemic was going to last forever? And so he put all the eggs in the Disney Plus basket, because we have some great content. That we have some not so great content, but we have some great content that's come out. It's flooded on there, but it's to the point where it's not profitable. And so
Right.
think that that is a major flaw in his little reign, and possibly the reason why he got put. I mean, other than he's not very personable, and cast members cringe when he's walking through the park, and he his guest interaction. I mean, there's a ton of things that we could talk bad about Chapek, but I mean, I think that you know he threw a bunch of money at Disney Plus during this pandemic, and got it up. I mean, he had to compete. He had to compete with Netflix. He had to compete with Amazon Prime, coming out of the gate. And if they would have just thrown up, a few Disney classics on there, I don't think anybody would have bought in. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, the one gripe that I have with Disney Plus is that they have some more inexpensive content they could be producing on their own. Without
yeah,
big high-paying stars, they could do another series of Imagineering. That's my favorite thing on Disney Plus is all the behind-the-scenes stuff, and that's stuff they do in-house. They don't have to pay a big star to be on that, and pay that salary. They can just get the footage of the Imagineers doing what they do and giving us the information. I love that stuff. Hey, DC, welcome in, bud.
I do too. Yeah, I was gonna say you got me before that. All right. What's up? What's up? But no, uh, I love those shows too, like the Imagineering. But I don't know if that's the content that sells.
True, not everybody's as
But I
diehard,
would
but
love more of that. I would love more behind the scenes. I would love more of the bring back that like Sunday night feel, where Walt's up there, giving you the next step in Disney. Like
yeah,
where is
the
the
Iger
show
show.
that's teasing Villains Land for the fifth gate here in Walt Disney World? Like it's such a rumor right now that
And
that
didn't you tell me that they recently got approved for a permit for the fifth gate?
So the rumor is, and I have not found a source that to corroborate this, but the rumor is before the new board took over, appointed by the governor, uh, the old board approved a fifth gate in Walt Disney World.
So I mean that could be two things. It could be something upcoming, or it could just be to keep it in their pocket.
Well, right, but I mean, here's the thing, and when you look at history, and if we're going to get Disney back on track, they have got to answer to Universal.
Yep.
Which we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, because I drove by it, but yeah, they have to answer to Universal, because if 2025 comes and Disney doesn't have something that's groundbreaking, uh, I mean, they're not going under. I'm not worried about Disney, like, going bankrupt, but they're going to hurt. I think that stock is going to hurt in 2025 when Epic Universe opens up.
It's going to level the playing field a little bit more. It still doesn't have the history. It doesn't have the huge following that Disney does, and they still won't be able to charge Disney prices, but it's going to tip it a little bit back.
Yeah.
It's not going to be so Disney heavy. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited to go to it. So I can't be the only Disney guy that's out there that's like, whoo, open this thing up. Because, especially people that live down here, we do these parks a lot. And to get a new whole park and a giant one, that's a big deal.
You know what? I'm gonna play the trailer real quick. If you have not seen the trailer yet, I want to play the trailer for Little Mermaid real quick before we get too far away from
Yes.
Halle, because if you were just popping in, Halle Bailey has been in the parks as a Disney Dreamers ambassador, a Dreamers Academy ambassador. She actually spoke in front of a crowd, I think of the college program group as well. So she's been very active in the parks, and I really, if you haven't seen this, check out the Little Mermaid live action.
All hands on deck! Abandon ship!
Above world.
A man was drowning. I had to save him.
This obsession with humans has to stop.
I just want to know more about them. Ariel! Don't!
Poor child. I can help you. You can't live in that world unless you become a human yourself.
Is that even possible?
That's what I live for.
Something about you seems different. I can't quite figure it out.
She got legs, you idiot.
I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know something's starting right now. Watching, you'll see. Someday I'll be part of your.
He's a human. You're a mermaid.
That doesn't make us enemies.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you said something about the Lion King, that when you said it, I was like, oh, you're so right. You're so right. And they followed the script, you know, pretty close.
Yeah.
One extra song in the Lion King. The trailer looks like they are going to stay true to the animated version of this, but I'm not hating it at all. Like,
No, and I wasn't hating Lion King either for it. I just, I don't know what the right answer is because you get all the nostalgia feels from it. So I think,
yeah,
people are going to leave the theater happy when they see this, and because if you mess with the classic, there's the double-edged sword because then you have people like you should have just left it alone. No matter what, people are going to be critical about it. But no, I'm really excited to go see this one in a theater, and we'll probably go see it at Universal because I like going to see movies there better than Disney Springs. I said it.
oh yeah, I've seen movies both places. I mean, what I like at AMC though is the like the order the food and they deliver it to your seat kind of thing. So,
Yeah. DC's saying that there's 4 new songs in addition to the originals from his understanding. That sounds cool to me. Have you heard anything about that, Rob?
no, actually, I haven't. That's why we have DC here.
Yeah, that'd be good. DC, I was thinking about you when we were on the cruise ship. We saw so many great shows that you would have absolutely loved. They have a Broadway theater in there, and we went and saw a show, and then we had in their carousel area where they have Cirque du Soleil. Usually, they have 2 different shows in there, and they are so good. I took some videos, and I don't know if you showed any of those, Rob, on Friday. But we have some footage that I'm hoping that you'll stick around to see because, man, it was some good stuff, and I know that you would have loved to see that.
Yeah, we definitely showed you those videos, and I was hoping to have them a little bit more organized today, but yeah, about that. Yeah, we didn't get him in, not yet. But hey, before we cut to the trailer, we were talking about Universal, and so I pulled up a picture here. This is the art for Epic Universe, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say here. Like when I mean, if you had to design the perfect park, right? This seems like it might hit all of perfection. Like,
I don't know.
really?
Go ahead. Well,
okay. So tell me what you think. What were you thinking?
I am definitely a fan of hub and spoke because, but the spokes need to connect on the outside.
Mm,
Like I don't want dead end lands that I have to go in and come back out the exact same way I went in because then you're just repeating. I like to just carry through and just keep moving on to new and moving on to new instead of backtracking to old and then going to new.
okay.
That's the only gripe I have.
I'll give you that. I agree. I agree with that. I do. I didn't even think about that, but definitely the flow, because if you think of like Islands of Adventure, I mean, as you walk through Islands of Adventure, you just change from land to land to land to land, and it's a world. Honestly, I don't even know what they call them. Worlds? Are they worlds? Um,
Sure.
yeah. So, yeah, that's definitely. I'll say that that's a critique that I agree with. I think that
And it's not to say that they can't expand, or maybe those spaces in between those are for future builds. Maybe this is just to get the majority up, get it open, get it making money, and then continue to build. And that's probably what this is. You're probably seeing step one.
hmm okay. We're gonna hope for that. But
Yeah.
I like what they've got looking here, where you've got the hotel as like a headpiece. You know,
Yes.
if I'm gonna go, I mean, here's what I think that Universal did brilliantly. If I'm gonna go on vacation, right, to Orlando, and I'm gonna be at Universal, I'm staying in this hotel, and I might even pay extra to have the parkside room so that when I go to bed at night, I can open up my window and I'm immersed in the park experience the whole entire time. Like,
Yep, I get that. But and then okay, here's one more thing now. If you look, where are those fireworks? Is that just kind of drawn in there for effect? Or when you're in that room and you're looking at the park, are the fireworks going to be above you because you are okay? So as Disney puts it, the weenie. So it looks like the weenie for this park is the hotel. So are the you know how you know what I'm talking about when I say weenie, right?
yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I would assume that they're probably for effect and for what it's going to look like from inside the park. They're going to shoot the fireworks off above the hotel. But man, that's a kind of a bummer for me if you pay to be in that thing and you got the parkside view, and then if the fireworks are above you, you're a part of the show and you're not witnessing it.
Okay. I'll go with you on that.
I don't know, and it's
I
just a
hadn't
rendering.
thought
I
of it
could be
that way.
totally wrong.
No, for sure. I hadn't thought of it that way, but that is a definite that's a definite critique that is legit right there.
Speaking of other parks and hotels, did you hear that SeaWorld is finally building their own resort?
I did not hear that. That's interesting.
They're
I don't
they're
have a
bringing
slot
some A
for
game. Yeah, no, I just had heard it recently, and because they don't currently have a hotel or a resort that's theirs, they have Good Neighbors, you know. But you know, they've got a few. They've got the water park, they've got SeaWorld, and then they have that. The name slips my mind right now, but they have like kind of an all inclusive day resort across the street. That's I forget the name of it now, but I mean they've got three pretty big things going on over there, and now they're going to add a resort to it. They're coming to play.
Yeah, I mean Universal is I mean not Universal, but Orlando. Orlando still has some tricks up their sleeve. So,
Yeah,
um
always changing, always growing.
yeah. Yeah. Um okay. Oh, now not only is there four additional songs, but Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote them.
Oh, that's cool.
That's solid right there. I really do love that guy. I mean, yeah. Anyway. Oh, hold on. Hold on.
Bless you.
All right. I didn't whew, I didn't mean that.
Come in.
Oh, let's see. Um all right. Well, we're going to come back to some of this news in a little bit, but I do want to talk a little bit about your cruise.
Me too.
All right. So I've been in the background here trying to get some stuff organized for the for pictures. I have failed so far. So
Can I tell you my one souvenir turned out to be garbage.
uh-oh.
Well, not the one souvenir, but I was trying to get one shirt. So I got a shirt from the Wet Lizard
Okay.
in Belize. And so we got home yesterday, threw everything in the laundry, threw this in, and there was around one of Mary's pair of pants, there was all this red thread all tied up.
Oh,
turns out to be the bottom hem of my shirt completely came unzipped all the way around. So now this is a on-screen shirt only when I'm in the studio because the bottom of it looks like a dress now.
Nice. I mean,
Yeah.
you could always take it, get it hemmed.
Yeah, I mean, you don't expect super quality from the Wet Lizard in Belize, but
I think you should make it a half shirt.
yeah, or I could cut it into those ribbons like you used to do in the 90s.
So since we're on that, real quick, Belize. This was the first time you were in Belize, right?
Yeah.
General first impressions.
Probably will not aim to go there again.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good time once you got there, but the effort to get there was a lot, especially on a very hot day, because you have to use a boat tender, and which means that the ships anchor 5 miles away from Belize,
What?
because it's so shallow that they can't get the ships in there, so they anchor them out in the channel, and then all these little tenders, not little, they hold like 150 people per boat. But it's a little sketchy getting from the ship onto those because it was a little choppy. So the boats move, the little boats moving, the big boats not. And so the walkway's bouncy and moving and shifting. And at one point when we were getting back on the ship, it really shifted hard and a lady kind of fell and screamed. And it was like a little pandemonium for a minute. Not a normal thing. And she didn't get hurt. It just scared the crap out of her because it made a loud bang. But it took... So the boat ride itself was 30 minutes, but we actually had, because we've cruised with them so many times, we're gold. So we had a specific earlier time to get on a tender, to get in
Dragon again.
a little earlier, to get in a little bit earlier. So we went to our designated meeting place and sat there for about 35 minutes and then finally got walked down. You have to go through metal detectors, all that kind of stuff, and show your cruise card and all the, that kind of stuff. Start boarding the boat. It took about 20 minutes to load the boat, and then it took 30 minutes to get over there, and then it took another 10 minutes to get off the boat. So, I mean, you're talking over an hour each way, and it's warm. There's, if there's no breeze, you're on a boat that doesn't have windows or, and it's the engine's running, it's diesel-y. It wasn't the greatest thing for me. And it just was kind of the perfect storm of it was hot, it was no breeze, and there were a lot of, because it's spring break, there were a lot of people that haven't cruised before, so they didn't know what to do. And this was our first time, doing a tender. Once we got on land, it was very pretty. The port was small, and we were told by many people not to leave the port in this particular stop because Belize can get to be a little bit rough outside of the port. So they said, unless you're going with a big group or you're going, it's fine if you're going on a, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain is still on the cruise ship. Excursion, yeah. So if you're going on an excursion, it's totally fine, as long as you do the excursions that are booked ahead of time through the cruise company. They're the ones that the cruise company does research on, pays attention to. I would never walk outside of a port anywhere and just find a guy that says, "Hey, I can take you here." I would never do that. Some people do, but
why? Like, funny story. You just brought that up. So, I've been on one cruise. It's like a real cruise, and that was the Mexican Riviera. And up until that point, I had crossed the border into Tijuana, and I had crossed the border into Canada. But other than those two things, I had not been out of the country. So, we're going on this cruise. We're going Mexican Riviera. We're going to like deep, not just stepping across the border into another country, but I'm going to be in another country, right?
Yeah.
So our first port was Puerto Vallarta. And I don't know. Have you ever cruised Mexican Riviera?
No.
Yeah, don't. Unless
that's the west side, right? That's the other ocean. Yeah.
Unless that's something you want to do. I mean, I'm not telling you. If you're really wanting to book a Mexican Riviera cruise, I can do that for you. But I wasn't super impressed with the Mexican Riviera cruise. And but okay, back to my story. So anyway, I'm super excited on the very first day. We we port sometime in the morning before I woke up. At 7:30, I jump out of bed. And for anybody who knows me, I don't jump out of bed. I don't jump out of bed ever, let alone 7:30 in the morning. You got to have that coffee and be ready. But anyway, so I jump out of bed, I get dressed, and I run up to the top deck. I actually left Melanie, right? She was getting ready for the day, and I can't wait to see what Mexico looks like. What does the country look like? You know what I saw?
Huh.
Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got up to the top deck. I looked out, and there was a big Walmart. So anyway, all right. So now next step in the process, right? What do you do when you're in another country and you see a Walmart? You got to go see what the other country's Walmart looks like.
Well, yeah.
We went in and everything was exactly the same. It looked exactly like a Walmart just down the street, but everything was in pesos. So. Yeah, it was just their little signs and everything everywhere were just a little bit different. But so full circle back to what we were talking about. You were saying you would never just go ashore and have some guy come up and say, "Hey, I'll take you here." So we're checking out at Walmart. I can't remember exactly what it was we bought, and there was a guy, and the guy stopped us, and he's like, "Hey, we've got this resort. It's it's a huge resort. We want to take you out there. We want to wine and dine you, and do all this stuff." And I'm like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
And Melanie's parents and another couple that had some kids. And they were we were kind of the middle generation. So it was Melanie's parents and some friends of theirs. Then it was us, and then it was the younger generation. So the older generation is like, great, let's go. So they pile us into 2 taxis just outside of this Walmart. And when I say taxis, that was definitely a loose interpretation of a taxi.
Right.
There might have been duct tape on the fenders and stuff.
Yeah.
And we go bombing down the road. Now, at this point, I'm pretty sure this is the last day that I'll be living on Earth. They are taking me into the middle of Mexico somewhere. They've already got the holes dug, and I'm on her, right? And so we bomb down this road. We're weaving in and out of traffic, and we get to, lo and behold, we get to a resort, and it's beautiful, like in the middle of nowhere, Puerto Vallarta, probably about 20 minutes outside of Puerto Vallarta. We go in, and there's there's pools, and there's palm trees, and I mean it's so beautiful. Well, one of the stipulations is somebody had to go to the the timeshare meeting, right? So Melanie and I, we become the babysitters. We're in charge of taking care of making sure that the teens are all taken care of. And I mean, that's rough. We had to sit poolside for a while. But like, this is supposed to be like a 30-minute presentation, right? At an hour and a half, we start getting worried that the parents are not back. And we're thinking, oh, there's the abduction, right? And yeah, I think we were there for like 3 hours. We thought the parents were abducted. They finally did come back. We didn't get to ride jet skis because there was some turbulent water, like what do you call it? Like a rip tide or something, which I really wanted to ride jet skis. It was one of the things that I really wanted to do there. But they came back. We had this like huge dinner, and they gave us some vouchers. We ended up buying like a bunch of alcohol at their store for free and putting it in Sprite and Coke bottles so we could get it back on the ship. It was crazy, but all because the crazy guy at Walmart said, "Hey, come with me."
Real quick, Welcome in, Pete. Good morning to you. Susan, thanks for watching even on your day off and chilling in bed. And DC, you are welcome to join me on a cruise anytime you want. We're going to go in October. Book it, because I'm telling you, you would love it.
There's a really good deal right now.
Yeah, there is a really good deal for that. And that ship, man, this is our first time on the seaside, but we did some research on it, and holy cow, I thought I loved Mirabilia. This one's got like a glass bridge inside. The main atrium is like 5 stories high inside. It's incredible looking.
We're trying to figure it out. I mean, who's going to be here and run the studio? You know, if we
We
go.
can do it from a ship. We just got to get some super satellite dish that we can put on our foreheads so that we have a signal.
Yeah. You know, right now, I hate that it's there's always a conflict, but right now I'm conflicted with film school. So
yeah,
it's hard to take those days off. But as soon as film school's over, it's on like Donkey Kong, y'all.
Right.
So
yeah, would you stop messing around and just get your learn on already?
yeah, right. I just need to finish this thing up and be done. Yeah, but
I'm pretty sure
I graduate in December, so it's not that far away.
Well, and we're booking one for, I want to say January with my sisters, both of them and their families. So maybe we can just have a giant party of like 30 people on that ship. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be amazing. Maybe that, you know what, we should just go ahead and plan that, and
yeah,
we'll go on that cruise, and that will be like my graduation present cruise.
yeah, and I love going to the Caribbean in January. It's so good.
Well, I'm there, I think, because I wanted to be cruising right now, but it's kind of in the way, and we kind of made some decisions that prevented us from cruising, because we're so close. Like, how long did it take you to get to the port from here?
Hour and 10 minutes.
Hour and 10 minutes. Hour and 10 minutes. Park the car, get on a boat, and enjoy vacation for a week.
From when we left the front door of our house, it was 2 hours till we were on deck 15 by the pool with a drink in our hand. That's pretty sweet.
that is just so rough. That is so
yeah.
All right. Just because I finally got some pictures. Not all of them, but I wanted to kind of fly through some of these. So
yeah,
Cozumel.
Cozumel is our favorite port that's actually a country, because like I said earlier, I really love the private island Ocean Key, but Cozumel is paradise. When you think of paradise, you're thinking of Cozumel, because all the stuff in the port is amazing, but there is just people doing things everywhere on the water, scuba diving and parasailing, and the just all the different styles of boats you can go out on. And then there's people, you can rent Jeeps, you can rent Harleys, you can rent scooters, you can rent and you're on an island. Cozumel is an island. It's not part of the mainland.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that from the map. It looked like it was like right at the tip of the peninsula there. Like,
yeah, no, it's, you can see the mainland, and there is a ferry that takes vehicles and trucks and stuff all the way across to the mainland. But it was pretty funny. Mary was making fun of me because she said, next time we come, we should really rent a Jeep. And I said, we don't even have GPS. We're going to get lost. And she said, aim for the water and then just keep following until you find a boat, stupid. Right. Like, oh yeah, okay, I get it.
So we had some friends one time. They were on a cruise around Hawaii, and they had rented Jeeps and were driving around, and they got back to where they were supposed to get back on the boat, and it had already left. And so they knew the boat, it was porting on the other side of the island. And so they took the Jeep and drove across the island to go get on the other side.
That's funny. Cozumel has no feeling of fear. like when you leave the port. The
Really?
whole island is covered in tourists. So when we were there, it's not a very big island. um, when we were there were 5 total ships in port. 5 ships, each holding about 5,000 people. You know, there could be, not everybody leaves the ships, but you're talking 15,000 people are probably on the island, all on different modes of transportation, out on the water, on the roads, all that kind of stuff. And there's resorts. There's an airport there so that you can fly in, and there's some really cool resorts. If you just want to spend time in Cozumel, you can do that too. But you know, we leave the port immediately. You know, the other places we go to, we usually stick around the port just for the safety factor. But this place, we don't even cab it. We just walk it. We get outside the port and just walk the main roads, and that's where we came to this place, which we've been there twice now at Tequila.
I was
you
gonna
know,
say that.
yeah. So Mary speaks fluent Spanish, and so when we get into ports and we want to ask somebody for their recommendation, we usually look for a security guard. They don't have any money in the game when it comes to whether or not people buy stuff in the port. You know, so she always says, when you get off of work, where do you go eat? And one of them said this place. And so it wasn't a huge walk. It was less than a mile. But you're way outside the port in the main part of the island. And you're right on the water. It's way less expensive than you know, the cheesy, I don't want to call them like fake
Careful.
restaurants, but you know, like the Senior Frogs and the
Oh,
Margaritavilles and
right. All the
all
chain.
the American versions of the chains. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just a mom and pop place. I think it had a total of like 12 tables. You're right on the water, a couple stories up. Right below you is people scuba diving, and you know, yeah, look at the tablecloths. I mean, it's just some family owns the place, and the food is amazing. It's reasonably priced, really good breeze. And at the most, when we were in there were probably like 15 people in there, so maybe half full or not even. But look at the view you have, and you know, the huts are out in front of you, and the scuba divers, and you see all the boats go by, and the parasailing and all that kind of stuff. And it's so relaxing. What's that?
Is that your ship in the background?
Yes, that's the Mirabilia.
Okay.
And the only gripe I have,
It's always got to be a gripe,
is that they play American music. You know, like, I don't go to Cozumel to listen to country music. I go there to listen to somebody playing the steel drum. Play the stupid steel drum so I can feel like I'm in paradise. You know what I mean? Like, that's my only gripe. I don't understand. All the restaurants play American songs. I don't get it. Why do you do that to me? You play the steel drum on the cruise ship, you know, so that I love that. But when I get off into paradise, then I feel like I'm walking back into America.
That I 100% agree. I love and you know, we were kind of a little bit younger, but and I didn't step up. But when I went on my cruise, like all I wanted to do was have street tacos from a vendor, not a restaurant. I just wanted tacos, and I didn't. Melanie steered me away from it. She's like, no, you can't, you don't want to get sick. And I'm like, oh, I got an iron stomach for one, not anymore that I had my gallbladder out, but you know, whatever, it's fine. And not to mention, mostly, you know, the people that are serving stuff, you know, around a port, I mean, they're not there to poison you. They want you to come back because that's their livelihood. So they're serving you probably really good food. But I love that, just that immersion. I want to be immersed into the culture and the area, the country that I'm in.
Yeah, we sat at our table for probably 2.5 hours. We wouldn't have done that had it been a busy place. You know, I'm not out to just, you know, hog a table, but there was on the deck, there was nobody else on the deck with us. And, you know, we were out in the breeze, the building and, you know, like the area of seating behind us is under a real roof. And there were some people in there. I don't understand why they sat back there. Like, get out here on the deck. It's
look at
just
that.
incredible. So you can see the tables behind us. I mean, and there's nobody in there. This was earlier in the day. When we first sat down, it was probably 10:30 in the morning, and we're ordering margaritas. But that's what you do. You're on vacation. But I mean, we got there. We're the only people there. The server was our server last time and remembered us. And I'll say it till the day I die. The best bartenders and servers have the best memory.
That is crazy.
Because nothing makes you feel, it's like, everybody says they want to go to a bar like Cheers. The reason they like it is because everybody knows your name.
No, they
You know
don't.
what I mean?
Cheers sucks.
It makes you feel like you're home.
I did. Did I just say that? That was recorded. I'll have to cut that out. Cheers.
But yeah, I mean, like, there is no more relaxation than just sitting at this place. I could have sat there all day.
Wow. Yeah. I had a couple more pictures here. That's some
real fresh
right there. Pico salsa, loving that.
Oh, it was so fresh and crunchy, and like when you think of salsa in Mexico, I've always thought of like the jar of crap at the grocery store. This is what it is, man. This is amazing.
This is I love a fresh chopped salsa. Back when Melanie and I used to sell Pampered Chef, which she's talking about doing again, actually. I don't know. She just doesn't have enough to do. So
right. You guys are just not busy enough.
So we'll go back. We'll restart one of the old businesses we had. Anyway, one of the things that I would demonstrate when I would go to shows was making salsa and making guacamole and making it fresh, because you could use the choppers and you could, put your ingredients in there. And I love fresh salsa.
Yeah. And what blew my mind, because one thing that I always, I hate about tropical areas is chips get stale instantly because there's so much humidity all the time. Where we came from in Nevada, you could leave a bag of chips open all day and it would taste the same at the end of the day. Here, if you leave them open for 15 minutes, they start getting stale. But this fresh salsa and then these chips were like amazing, and they're like handmade. They're all different sizes. It's not like it was punched through an assembly line. They're making these, and it was really good.
I love it. And then, is that water or is that margarita?
That is a Tito's and Sprite. And they said, do you want a small or a large? And they brought that thing out, and the goblet itself weighed like 10 pounds empty. That was Mary's drink. And I was worried the table wasn't going to hold it. It was and that was the first of two.
Nice. Good for
yeah.
Super proud right there. Super proud.
Yep. Not messing around.
So I just got some breaking news in, and since we're talking about travel right now, Melanie actually texted me. She said today is the last day to book Disney dining card promotion for Walt Disney World on the travel dates July 1st through July 10th. Most nights August 1st through September 14th. So, and June 25th through June 30th. So there's some Disney dining if you're coming in or planning on coming into Orlando for Walt Disney World. Disney dining.
Did you see those specials that they rolled out for the Disney Visa?
I did see something about that. I can't remember where I was reading that.
Big savings. So our favorite resort, Riverside, and these are just summer dates, and there's not a ton of them. There's some in June and some in July, but 35% off Riverside. Yeah. Art of Animation was 30% off. There was a bunch of different, but Riverside was the highest, which is amazing to me because I love that resort. And so here's my thoughts real quick on that. They just raised all the rates at these resorts a ton, about 30%, which is a huge bump. So now they can give a 30% discount and be back to the rack rate they had last year.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean,
at least they're doing something.
We talked about it, or I was talking about that on another show. It might have been on Friday night. Anyway, that's kind of where Disney, I mean, how you can't roll back your pricing. That I think that puts out a wrong message to the public and puts out a wrong message to your stockholders. But what you can do is you can offer discounts and promotions. So, I think that's definitely a strategy that Disney's going to be using I mean, for instance, we were looking to go into the park yesterday, and because my mother-in-law and my mother are in town, and so between people that work at the park, we were getting everybody in but Trace. And Trace has he has a pass, but he has the Pixie Pass, which doesn't get him into the park on the weekends. And so I know you're gonna get yours here in what, 2 months. So
Yep.
but so we start looking, it was $180 for
For one day. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an intentional pause to let that sink in. The
Yeah.
$179.99 for one park, one day. And we were like, no. I mean, that's crazy. And then you see these little booths, and I want to try it one day. It's going to be, you know what, we might do it for this show. That's a challenge right there. I just challenged us on this show. I want to go to one of those little stops down on 192.
Yep.
They discount tickets, or go to the outlet mall where they got the little booth, and it's like $39.99 for a Disney ticket. And
I'm curious about it too, because you can't get a discount ticket, so it has to have something attached to it, like a timeshare sit down, or something like that. Because I've always been curious about that, because if you truly could get a ticket for $80 to Disney, everybody on Facebook would always talk about it. So there's got to be a catch.
Yep. Well, speaking of trips, if you're looking to come into the Orlando area, notjustcruising.com, Rob and Melanie Striffler, that's us right here on Disney Connections. We can book that trip for you. And Melanie is booking a ton of trips right now. I think that she's working on a couple 5 or 6 different group cruises, some individual cruises. We got somebody that's leaving and doing a huge cruise on Oceania, something. It's a pretty big highfalutin cruise going out of Italy this summer. But we're not just cruising, and we are here in the Orlando area. I would like to say that we are the last minute Disney option. So if you're like sitting at home right now, you're watching this and you're like, you know what, I kind of want to go to Disney and take advantage of those last minute dining plans that I was just talking about, call us today, or email us, because there's no phone number on there. But notjustcruising.com. And when you get here, you're going to want some transportation, and that transportation will be provided by Park Hopper Choppers. So Chris and Mary, Disney Dynamics Park Hopper Choppers, right there. Central Florida's best mobility scooter rental. But they don't just rent scooters. They are the best scooter rental, but they are also the best transportation to and from the parks. So if you're coming into the Central Florida area, if you're coming into Orlando, or even, I know that he's going in, I think, July, and picking up some people from Tampa, give Chris a call over there, 407-989-9618, or go to parkhopperchopper.com to get your transportation. And then when you get to the parks, he'll drop off a scooter for you to cruise around the parks all day. When you leave the parks, hit up MainStreetTreat.com. MainStreetTreat.com is your solution to get treats from the parks, both Disney and Universal, sent to your home. So MainStreetTreat.com for your sweet tooth. If you're missing that Rice Krispie treat or that character apple, we are the place to go for you to get that. But we're not just treats. We also will send you a fun and fancy freight box. We've got one going out in the mail just today. It's a big one. Y'all. It's going to be fun. I can't wait for this person to open it up. But fun and fancy freight is your option. It's attached right there to Main Street Treat. So, that's our sponsors. And, if you enjoy us over here on Florida Vacation Network, please check out our businesses. If you need something, if you want to book something, travel, if you're going to be here in the Orlando area and you need transportation, or if you're sitting at home and you're like, you know what, I just need a little bit of Disney in my life. So there you have it. There you be. We're going to be back here in just a few moments. So check out our intro, and then we'll talk some more with Chris about his vacation over there in the Caribbean. Well, welcome back and good morning, Florida Vacation Network. It is Monday. What is it? March 27th? Monday, March 27th. And we're here to give you all the news and notes and food and all the stuff that you need to plan your Florida vacation. I got Chris is back from the cruise. There he is right there in all of his glory. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I feel
Welcome
like
in, Space Mountain Dave.
Space Mountain Dave in. Welcome. Hello. That was super fun to be on your show the other night on Saturday. Had a blast.
Yeah, it was a good show. We were watching it as well. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Love it.
Oh, my coffee's gone.
Uh-oh.
Bad times.
Oh, I got some left.
Oh, you don't have to brag.
So yeah, we'll just kind of run through a few things that we talked about. I had this up. I actually was going to go somewhere else, but then I noticed that you weren't quite back yet, so I was going to hit up the weather. This is summer number one here in Florida. The weather kind of goes like this a little bit. We never dip too cold. Other than a couple days, we did hit the 30s this last winter, but I think
Christmas
with all of that, I think we're done with all of that. No more freezes. Last year in April, I think we got one day where at night it got down to like 40 something. I was driving a boat at the time, and a little cold, but no, we're back into summer. It's going to be maybe a high of 93 today, and I'm the crazy guy that's going to be in Magic Kingdom in the afternoon.
Yeah, and I'm the crazy guy that's going to be doing yard work.
There you go.
Not smart. But my palm trees are dying. I got to get some water on these things because it has been dry here for too long.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that the palm trees are dying because they're pretty hardy.
Yeah. They can take the wind, but when they're thirsty, they let you know all the tips on the palm fronds are drying out.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, we're praying for rain right now, but we're getting really close to the season where it's going to rain every day.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it. Like, I grew up in the Northwest. I know what it's like to have rain every day and every day and and it just keeps on going on and on and on for 8 months. We'll have rain, and that's why I don't live in the Northwest anymore. So event, like I love the event of rain where you're watching, you're waiting, and eventually like 3:30 to say 6:30, sometime in that 3-hour period, you know that there's going to be thunder and lightning and pouring down rain, and then it's gone, and then you get to live your life again. So,
Lightning capital of the world is no joke. It is quite a show.
yeah, so where were we the other day? We were in oh shoot. We were somewhere the other day anyway. Oh, we were in Epcot. We were in Epcot, and we were trying to get back. We were going to get on the Death Buckets or the Skyliner. You call them the Death Buckets, but we were going to get back on the Skyliner and head back to Hollywood Studios. And we're coming out of the park, and the thunder rumbled a little bit. And I don't like to be violent, but I almost had to punch this guy in the throat. Because he said, because I heard him as I was walking by him, right? He's like, I don't think it's gonna rain. I'm like, oh, buddy, you're not from around here. And about the time he said that, this big old drop just hit my hand, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. So we get down, we get through France, we make the corner, heading down to the gateway, and it starts raining. So we squeeze into the store there. We ended up waiting out the store, but I pull up my app, and the lightning was just crazy all around. They must have lightning rods like hidden everywhere.
Yeah.
It was getting slammed right there at Epcot. I thought it was pretty crazy.
The rain is built different in Florida. It's not raindrops, it's water balloons. It's unbelievable how big the raindrops are.
Oh my gosh. They are so huge.
Yeah.
It's so freaking huge.
It's on a different level.
Well, on a different level. I don't know, right transition. But so have you seen this new candy?
No.
Oh yeah, it says right there in the upper left-hand corner. The internet is going crazy. So you're a Goofy fan. Did you watch the Goofy movie?
Yeah.
Okay, and there was a character in there, and I don't remember because it's been so long since I've seen it. But the character Powerline.
Yeah, that's Goofy's kid.
Yeah.
Max.
So they come out with a candy. Now this candy was actually it was like a it was a fake candy that was on like some advertisement in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in California.
Really?
And Disney decided to actually manufacture this. And I have seen this in the parks. I've seen this in Disney Springs at Goofy's Candy Company. This is a candy that you can pick up now. So yeah.
You haven't tried it yet though?
I did not. No, there was two things. There was this, and then there was these they were just like candy glass. I don't even know what you call it, but I almost picked up one of each of them and didn't. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know. Maybe
now we're all let down because now we need a review now.
Well, next time I see him, I will. Maybe I'll pick some up today because I'll be in the parks today.
I don't do sour, so you'll have to let me know because I don't do sour. No.
Skittles? Yeah, just regular Skittles though?
Yeah, just regular ones. I like the sweet stuff.
Okay. I wanted to hear how you feel about this. So 50th stuff. It's disappearing. What do you think?
Yeah.
Are you sad?
I'm
happy? Are you ready to move on? What do you think?
I'm ready to be disappointed with what they bring out for the 100th, honestly.
Really?
Okay. I mean, the 50th, I think we can all agree was slightly underwhelming. The castle's beautiful. It's not because
beautiful castle.
Yeah. I really wish they would just really throw everything at the 100th. I was saying this before that, that purple and chrome, if they would do something on the castle to do that, I think it would be amazing. I don't think that they're going to, simply because this is a busy time right now to cover the castle and scaffolding would be probably a bad move.
Yeah, I think so.
But you never know. But I love the 100th merch. So I'm hoping that they come out with some really cool stuff. And yeah, I think we've beaten the 50th to death over 18 months.
You know, when it first started and they were talking about the 18-month celebration, um, initial thought was that seems a little long. Like I could see a year. But then I thought, okay, they've strategically played this out. They, have things in place that they're going to be popping out every month or so, every couple months. It's going to refresh it. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And they did none of it.
Yeah.
We still have the same 50th merch today that we did on day one. It's just more readily available. When it first launched, it was crazy. We were kind of launching our business at the same time, and
Yeah.
we would go in to pick something up that somebody had messaged us and say, "Hey, we saw this. Could you pick us up something?" And we'd go in, and it was nowhere to be found, and it was nowhere to be found for like 3 or 4 weeks. Like it was crazy the short supply that they had. They were not prepared for this 50th celebration.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get they're gonna set the tone when they pull that monorail silver out with the new wrap on it with the 100th. That's gonna be the gauge, I think, on how hard they're gonna go on the 100th. If it's another
just a little strip on the engine car, or is it going to be a cool wrap? I wonder.
Yep, I think that's gonna be the thermometer that tells us how hard they're gonna go on the 100th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had an idea actually, and if Disney is watching this, here's the idea. I mean, just send me 2%. But if they have not done it already, all they have to do is do a projection on the castle in the evenings with the chrome and purple.
Right? Yeah, I could see. I bet you're probably right. I bet they're probably going to do that. And
yeah,
have you noticed on the My Disney Experience app, when you look at the maps of Magic Kingdom now, they have removed the 50th and all the ribbons that are on the castle on the picture of it. You know what I'm saying? When you're looking at the map, all
right.
that stuff is gone on the map already.
Yeah, I noticed that that the Animal Kingdom maps have taken 50th off of everything. So, yeah, we are definitely in a time period where we're in that transition time, and it's time to move on. The 50th was such a lackluster. Like, here's the thing, I mean, they threw out Harmonious, and I was super excited for it, and it was a letdown until just recently. I have a newfound appreciation for it, but they threw out Harmonious. I was like anticipating an amazing show, and I was okay, whatever. They put a new show in Magic Kingdom, and I know you'll probably disagree, but I didn't think that it was as good a show as Happily Ever After.
I agree.
Ever? Okay, you agree. I was kind of sad that they took out some of the nostalgic elements, like no more Walt.
That's my biggest problem with it.
Yeah, taking Walt out of everything, it was just crazy. And then I've heard mixed reviews on this, but some of the songs, most of the songs that they produced for those two shows, they didn't use original singers. So the way in which you hear the song, that you've heard the song for years and years and years, it didn't come across that way. And it was almost to me, and this is my opinion, this is not the opinion of Florida Vacation Network or Chris over there at Disney Dynamics.
We'll see.
is I thought it cheapened the show. Like, I don't know. I mean, not to like disparage the people that sang, because they were beautiful voices, and I think the song was okay in its own. But I mean, when you're watching a show and you're like, wait a minute, who is that? I think that
right
cheapens it up a little bit.
Yeah, again, this is kind of what we were talking about before. You either go one way or the other, and if they're trying to make it fancy because it's a show, so let's change it up a little bit, that's one thing, but then you miss the nostalgia button.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't make the little kids light up quite as much as it would have, because they're like, oh, I know this from watching the movie at home, or they know it, but then you miss out on it. Right, yeah, or the big kids, or the really big kids. No, I mean, it's I think, I'm sure there's opinions on both sides of that, and I'm not sold on either way. Sometimes it just feels right, and on that show it just didn't feel quite right. It didn't hit the nostalgia button. And the biggest thing for me, when I'm in Magic Kingdom, as when I'm in Disneyland, I want to hear Walt's voice.
Yep.
That's important.
I think so. You can't lose sight of where it started and who started it. We can't just write him off. And I felt like in the 50th celebration, it was kind of like, well, I mean, Walt wasn't here 50 years ago when it opened, so we're just gonna how do you, I don't know, you just can't erase that. And yeah. So I'm hoping that in the 100th, I'm hoping that they kind of repair some things. I know that Happily Ever After is coming back. I love some of this 100th look. The chrome and purple is amazing to me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Never thought of mixing chrome and purple. But I know you did, right? You got Leota. It's got purple and
Yep.
chrome on
Well,
it.
yeah, and that's our logo for Park Hopper Choppers.
Yep, and you have the chrome purple. So I think that that's going to work. Hopefully, the supply chain is such that we're not worried about getting this 100th merch in. And honestly, the 100th merch that I've been seeing on the shelves right now is far and above what the 50th has been for the last 18 months. So I'm excited. Now the thing is that they need to keep it fresh. Like, hopefully they don't throw everything out right now that they're planning to do for this 100th celebration. Do you know how long this celebration is supposed to last?
I have not heard.
That would be a good question that we should probably know over here on Florida Vacation Network.
Yeah, I'm guessing 12 months. I don't think it's going to be, because it's not park specific. It's just Disney, the company, not saying just Disney, the company, but I don't know. Or let's look at the other side of this. Is this their way of, like, how Epcot basically has a festival all the time now?
Yeah.
They're always going to be celebrating something. I was really underwhelmed by Epcot's 40th. I was hoping for a lot of more out of that. It was like a one-day celebration for my favorite park. It was awful. And maybe it was a weekend, but it was definitely not more than a weekend. That was a bummer. But, maybe they're always going to be celebrating something, because we've got Mickey's 100th coming up. We've got, there's always something to celebrate, whether it's one of the parks opening, or a character birthday, or all that kind of stuff. Walt's birthday, they're going to celebrate everything, because there's merch for everything. So let's see here, what did Broadway Disney fans say? Yeah,
he's getting the boot.
Oh yeah, you're out of here. Did you see my ride picture recently from on that ride? I did that just for you.
Intro.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is in the intro.
It's in the intro.
I was thinking of you when I did that, buddy.
Yeah. Speaking of Epcot, and I don't have any pictures. You know what? I'm actually going to be, I think I'm going to be riding the monorail through. So I'm going to try to get a few clips today of the progress of is it Moana's Garden? Right?
Yeah. It's coming along, man. Holy cow.
It is. So hopefully we'll have an update for you on Wednesday for that, because, I really thought, call me crazy. Okay, but I thought Moana's Garden would have been open and debuted for Flower and Garden.
One would think. I will, I know that part has been under construction for a very long time, and we are all frustrated with the walls, because it is such a long walk to get from one side to the other. It is ridiculous. But I will say,
tired of
in the last 2 months, they have made some serious strides on the buildings that are in there. I mean, Moana's is coming along really well and moving fast now, but they are really putting the coals to the fire because I think that they're sick of looking at it themselves and they just need to get the monkey off their back. So there's a lot of building, crane action, all that kind of stuff. They're setting I-beams and putting up big buildings. So I am so excited to actually, when that area opens, I think both of us are going to be in the park that day for a live stream, because whether
Yeah.
it's on our regular day or not, we need to be in there for that, because that's going to be, I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been anticipating that opening for quite a while, even before I knew it was going to be Moana. But hey, I wanted to throw this out here. You know, Iger, if you're watching, and I know you probably do, you probably pop in here to Florida Vacation Network every
Absolutely.
while. I just want to know that I am available as CEO of something. If you need help, I mean, these little things that I've thrown out. In the past hour, a little over an hour, this is just a fraction of what's going on in my head. So if you need any solutions to problems, I'm here for you. I can be in work Thursday morning. So
But we just to be clear, I'm in the same boat. I could be a part of that too, but I want to be behind the scenes, because if my idea flops, I don't want to be on social media getting destroyed for it. So I want to be the silent idea guy.
I'm fine. I have thick skin. Speaking of ideas that work, I actually got to walk by this the other day. Not, I like my transitions this morning. They're super on point. So yeah, we went from Epcot. Now we're in Hollywood Studios. Roundup Rodeo Barbecue. This feels a lot like Club 33 right now.
Yeah.
You walk by it, it's open. So this is a very very good rendition. I got this from Disney Food Blogs. I don't think they drew it. I think they must have acquired it from somewhere. But this is exactly what it looks like. There's a little hostess stand right underneath or right past the signage. And then but the only difference when I walked by there the other day is those doors into the building are closed. They are not even sneak a peek through the doors. They're keeping it closed. You come back for your reservation, and then there's a door person that's over there that opens the door and lets you through. So
yeah, you need a secret handshake, and you have to slip them $100 bill just to get a peek. I saw a video on TikTok yesterday of them doing the Andes coming. And it's not what I thought it was going to be, where somebody just shouts it out. It comes over the speakers where you actually hear Andy coming. Everybody, so you can hear him as though he's entering the room or getting close to the door. And then everybody freezes. The staff and all the guests in this video were rock solid. It was a beautiful thing. So everybody did it perfectly. And then you hear him walk away and everybody goes back to talking, and they all kind of clapped because everybody did such a good job. But that sounds like a lot of fun. It's not the same thing they used to do in Hollywood Studios where just a guest could yell it. That was a very short-lived thing that people abused very quickly, and all of the cast members got sick of getting up off the ground. So they said, okay, we're done with that. This is something that's timed in the restaurant. I would assume it's probably every 45 minutes, so that when you go in there for a meal, you get it at least once. That would be my guess. That's not confirmed by any means, but when it's something that happens, when you're in a Rainforest Cafe and the storm comes through and all the monkeys freak out, that's timed specifically so that you make sure if you're in there for a meal, you get it at least once. I think it's going to be something like that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm hoping it's something that lasts. I know that we have reservations coming up here in a few weeks. I think April 11th or 15th or something. One of those we have reservations, and I think Melanie was changing those reservations to 4, just in case you were wondering.
I hope so, because I need the secret handshake. I really want to go.
Yeah, I want to check it out and go. Actually, you know what? Let's check it out right now. Oh, I didn't mean for that. We're still talking about Woody's Roundup, Roundup Rodeo. So, is that the first time you've seen that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I did see the video. Mel was just asking. Yeah, we did just talk about that video of everybody freezing. I will say, like, I mean, we've been waiting for this restaurant for a long time. This was supposed to be open a very, very long time ago,
Right there.
2020, I think. But worth the wait because and the theming is so deep. It's every square inch of that place is themed. Like, I'm so excited to go in there.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they
She already feels like a toy.
yeah, you know, sometimes they do light theming, or you know, like when they did the contemporary with The Incredibles, it's you know, a couple things hot glued on what was already there. This is like all the way there, and Toy Story Land is one of my favorite lands because it really is done well. The size of the grasses and the plants, and you know, like the whole thing feels like some kid built it in his backyard with a bunch of toys,
100%.
which is and this fits exactly right.
And
Welcome in, Jesse.
I know I'll get crucified by some of my Star Wars fans out there, but I love Star Wars. Let me just preface this by saying Galaxy's Edge made me cry. Okay.
Yeah.
When I walked in to Galaxy's Edge the first time in Disneyland, I was tearing up. I was like, I've made it. This is what my entire life, you know, mission was to get into Star Wars, and I'm here. But I think I like I like the Toy Story area of Hollywood Studios better. I love the theming. I think it's spot on. Everything is like super detailed to the footprints in the concrete.
Can you imagine how cool the area would be if Toy Story Land was the same size as Galaxy's Edge?
Right?
I mean, I love them both too. I'm not knocking Galaxy's Edge at all. I absolutely love just hanging out in there, the sound effects and all that stuff.
Oh, it's amazing.
But I mean, Toy Story pulls at the heartstrings.
So.
Toy Story is the first really cool movie. You know, when they first brought out the new technology, and everybody, our minds were blown when that movie came out that they could do that with a computer. And that franchise is amazing to me. So I'm just glad. Kudos to Disney. We yell at them a lot for screwing up. We have to also give them kudos when they do it right, and they absolutely did this one right.
They definitely did. I can't wait. I'm excited for the barbecue too, because I don't know that there's a real strong barbecue spot in Disney that I like yet. I think this is going to be it. So.
Yeah, I really hope. I said this before. Trails End at Fort Wilderness had the best barbecue in all of Disney, and
you're right.
And they closed it down. I am praying that the people that worked at Trails End now work at barbecue, because that would have been a perfect fit and a good place for them to go with their skills, because that was the best comfort food in Disney.
Yep. Yeah, I think we had breakfast there. Yeah. That's like off the campground, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we had breakfast there one time. It was delicious.
Yeah.
Speaking of technology, though, you said technology earlier, but we weren't ready for the transition. But I am ready for the transition now into talking about Tron. So they have been having a soft opening. It's technically opening on April 4th, which when they released that like months ago, I booked the day in hopes that I can get into the virtual queue on April 4th. But they've been opening it the last couple days. Where were we? We were, I don't know. We were on some transportation the other day and talking to some guests, and they were trying to get in the queue. And apparently, like, I don't think that they're opening it up full. Like, it's not a full queue. I think that they're just giving like little sporadic,
Yeah, just little pieces of it. And that's a smart move on Disney's part, because if something isn't quite right, you know, whenever you're transitioning into a new model, you want to disappoint the least amount of people. So if they opened it up full and then things went poorly and people's groups aren't called at the end of the night, you don't want to start this off by making people mad. So it makes sense that they're doing that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, honey, it was on the Skyliner. That's right. We were talking to people on the Skyliner. I knew we were on transportation because we were just sitting there. Yeah, no, I'm super excited about this, and I don't know why. I mean, you know what? And when they released that they were creating the Tron ride, I was like, really? Because it was such a blockbuster. Um, but uh,
Yeah.
but secretly, I was excited because I remember growing up watching the original Tron, and I mean, if you go back and watch it now, it didn't survive. Like, it's
Didn't
not.
hold up.
It didn't hold up, right? But I remember when I was little, like watching it and just being in awe of all the technology and the idea of it. Um, and I think that it was one of those groundbreaking movies. And then to move forward to the current version of it was absolutely amazing. Um, and it still didn't. It wasn't like a blockbuster hit.
Yeah, I personally, I hate to say it, and people are going to be mad, but I could care less about Tron the movie. Um, it just didn't do it for me. It never did. But since they announced this, I mean, I've seen videos of the Tron in where is it, Shanghai for that's been there for what, almost 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
8 years, but it looks like an amazing coaster, and any new rides, of course, I'm game for any new rides. I don't care. It thins the herd a little bit. More seats for butts, and I'm gonna go on it. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. But at the same time, if the line for this is across the park, then I get to get on Big Thunder Mountain a little quicker.
That is true right there. 59 miles an hour, Disney Connection said. It's going to be the fastest ride in Disney.
But isn't Test Track 64?
Is it really, or does it just say that on the sign as you go under?
No, I think that's legit. Maybe it's the fastest in Magic Kingdom, or maybe
Maybe it's
Rock
the
and Roller
fastest
Coaster goes
coaster.
57. Close second.
I
Yeah,
don't-
it's fast either way. And magnetic start all day, every day. I'm all about it. I can't do lift hills. I hate it. I'm old now and I have a fear of death. And clicking up that stupid hill, the only one that doesn't bother me is Everest. It's because of the view. I actually do look off the side of that one so I can see the Epcot ball and all that stuff. It took me a lot of rides to get to that point where I can look around and not be terrified. But every coaster needs to be magnetic start. I think they need to tear down Space Mountain and build the same one that they have in France, because that one's a magnetic start where you launch up, and it's a way cooler looking ride. What's that?
I haven't been to France. Well,
I haven't either, but I
have been to France. I just haven't been to Disney France. So
no, I mean it obviously more Disney growth, more Disney growth. We want more, always more. And for Iger to say this is the tip of the iceberg, I sure hope he means that, and I sure hope that we get back on track, because Spaceship Earth is supposed to be torn apart and redone, all new ride vehicles, and 2/3 of that ride are supposed to be redone. Plus the after show building is supposed to be completely new. I'm hoping that step will happen after they open up the rest of Epcot that's under construction right now.
right.
There's so much to be done, and so much to update, and so much to continue building. We've got nothing but land down here, and we've got a busy park. We're raising prices. Now let's give us more attractions, and let's even the field a little bit.
I agree, and I think we'll leave that right there. We're going to step in now. We're going to be talking with Chris about the cruise in the Caribbean. Yep. All right. Well, yeah, some great news coming out of the parks. I think this might be a great year for Disney. At least I'm hoping. I mean, there's always hoping. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. See how it works out. So I have a couple questions that I just want to kind of cover with you, and just get your opinion on stuff. I know you're just one person, but you're the most important person in here today.
At least in the top two.
In the top two. So you just got back on from an MSC cruise. it sounds like the Meraviglia is been your favorite ship that you've cruised on up to this.
Yes.
But I just want you to tell us kind of your overall experience with MSC cruising, and you can highlight the Meraviglia as well.
So MSC is it's not known as much as the other cruise lines, RCL and all those Carnival, all those other ships. They've been here for a long time. MSC has only been here for I think they first started sailing here about 8 years ago. They have so MSC is a company that made its money from container ships. So MSC owns over 500 ocean-going container ships. They are the huge company when it comes to that. They own 22 cruise ships. So they got into the cruise industry not too long ago, but MSC stands for Mediterranean Shipping Company. They're an Italian shipping company. When you're in the Bahamas and you see all the ships, they all say Nassau on the back of them because it's the cheapest place to port out of. I forget the name that's on the back of MSC now, but it's an Italian city.
Oh.
So that's the one oddball thing that stands out. They fly a different flag than the rest of the cruise ships because they're out of Italy. But they're building their ships very quickly and very well. They're beautiful ships. And the one thing that they really do pride themselves on is cleanliness. We were next to ships that were rust buckets, and they just aren't maintained to the same level that MSC is. Now, I will say that Disney is Disney when it comes to cruise ships. Their ships are immaculate, and their staff is unbelievable. But those cruises are also much more expensive than MSC. You go to the same ports. So if you're really into the ports and going to excursions, find the least expensive ship and you're going to find a beautiful ship. That's MSC. Their prices are starting to climb. They were inexpensive because people didn't know who they were. Down here in Florida, we see commercials from MSC every 3 seconds. I'm sure that's going to start expanding out to the rest of the country too, because they're really pushing it. They're moving our favorite ship, the Meraviglia, up to New York for this summer, but they poured out of New York, all around Florida and Texas.
I don't know what is more like exciting or surprising that MSC started as a cargo shipping company, or that that they had 500 cargo ships. So
yeah, well, you learn a lot when you do some research about it.
Do you have to take a test? Did you have to take a test before you can get to your stateroom?
Absolutely, before they gave me the handshake to get the gold card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
They built, so there is a show that you can watch called Life on a Cruise Ship, and it's about, I think that one's about the seaside, but it's a whole show about start to finish building the ship, what it takes, outfitting the ship, and then putting it out to sea, and all the behind the scenes and the below decks footage and all that kind of stuff, and some of the gross stuff that you always wonder about where that goes, and then they tell you what they do. I mean, all that kind of stuff. And then we found, just before we went on this cruise, there is a series about when they built their private island, which is amazing. Welcome in, Luke. Good to see you. It's a 3-episode series. I forget the name of it, and I'll have to get that so I can on Wednesday I can give everybody that. But it was really well done. They bought an island that had been used as a sand quarry for the Bahamas, and it was used for that for like 30 years or something like that. And when they bought the island, I want to say there was like 400 tons or 4,000 tons of just rotting steel from old equipment and old tractors and old stuff all over the island and in the water around the island. And it took them a really long time just to get down to starting from scratch. And then they put $200 million into this island. They completely changed the shape of it. They put lagoons in it. There's 10 bars on it. They planted 5,000 trees on this island. So much infrastructure, all the housing for the 150 people that live there year round. So when the ship leaves, they're there cleaning the island and raking the sand and taking care, restocking the bars and doing all that stuff. And those 150 people, you don't even see them when we get there with the ship, all the bartenders and all the servers for the restaurants come off of the ship to run the island. Those 150 people are just there to maintain it, so I mean, it's
Wow. That's
quite a thing. And like I said before, it's our favorite day is Ocean Key. It's a beautiful place. You have it to yourselves. And, let's say 1,500 people come off of that ship to get onto the island. It's so big that you can find your little nook. And there's seating everywhere and umbrellas everywhere. And you can jet ski, you can kayak, you can, there's so many things you can do off of the island, but it is just paradise. It feels like it's Bob's island and you get to visit Bob and hang out with him. It's so cool.
well, that I think answers one of my questions, because I was going to ask you what your favorite part of the cruise, like the activity, but it sounds like that island is pretty amazing and a place to go. We have some footage of that, and we'll be compiling some stuff and either putting it up as shorts or some uploads for the channel, and maybe we'll have something that we can bring to you on one of these mornings. But yeah, so what was there any like theme nights or anything that was special to this cruise that may be different from other nights or other cruises?
I can't even begin to tell you. Yeah, I can. I've got some paperwork right here. So there's always something going on. So I'm going to give you just one day so you get an idea. Let me grab it. It's right here on the table.
This is our low-tech transition right here, where you just get up out of your seat and he'll come back. He's grabbing some paperwork, some high-tech, actual real paper.
And we're back.
We're back.
All right. So every day on your cabin door, there's paperwork.
Really?
Daily programs. Let's see here. So I've got the daily program for At Sea. I've got Cozumel. I've got Belize City. Another At Sea day. And
is there a test every day? Like, I mean, do you have to study this material and then before they let you in to dine at night, you have to take that test?
Right. Yes. Okay. So just for an example, let's do an At Sea day. So this was Wednesday, right in the middle, on the way to Belize. So that's quite a long cruise. So you're at sea the entire day. So first of all, the inside of the booklet really lays out a lot of things that are happening. And the back of it talks about all the bars, restaurants, lounges, all that kind of stuff. But this is the itinerary for one single At Sea day of times of things that are happening on the ship.
Wow.
So, yeah,
just
okay. So things. 70. What's that?
I said just a few things in one day.
Yeah, just a few things. Okay. So sunrise stretch in the MSC gym on deck 16 is at 7 a.m. You can do an ab workout. What's that?
Every day you made sure to be there at 6:55.
Oh, I was there with bells on. I actually ran it a few times. They said I was so good that they'd like me to take over.
Perfect.
But just some of the stuff, there's the dome show. So the dome show is that big corridor that has the LED screen for the whole roof. They have different shows throughout the day that they put on there. They also have different, they make it stained glass for a time and they make it look like it's outdoors for a time. It changes all day long, but they have actual shows throughout the day. There's a lesson to learn how to speak Spanish. There's a pickleball tournament. There's trivia. There's hit the target game with the crew staff up by the pool. Master Chef at Sea competition. So we went to this. This was in the Broadway Theater. Master Chef at Sea is on a lot of cruise ships. Basically what they do is they do a trivia about food and cooking, and everybody writes their answers down. They take them in, and the 3 top people get to actually go up on stage. They have a mystery box competition where they have to put some food together, and they win prizes, and the Master Chef apron and a bunch of MSC swag and all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun and very entertaining. I mean, it just for something free to go do or be a part of, it was a lot of fun. They don't drag them on forever. It lasted probably 30 to 45 minutes, something like that.
Really? Okay.
But there's just always somewhere to be. There's bingo, obviously, like every cruise ship on the planet. they have different sales at all the different stores that are in the ship. Gem shows and all that kind of stuff. More trivia, trilogy game, table soccer tournament. It's just the list goes on forever. Sunset with our DJ. They have an amazing DJ at the adults only pool at night. Just tons of stuff. Broadway theater shows.
So you were never lacking for something. Like at any given moment of the day, there is something to entertain you, something to be at, something that's predetermined, so that you're not sitting there going, "Oh, there's nothing to do right now."
Not only is it every minute of the day, but let's just take 10 a.m. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things to do at 10 a.m.
Right. And that's like activities that you can participate in, let alone you could, be up, looking at the ocean or, actually I had a question for you. I wasn't sure. Did you do any Titanic reenactments while you were on this one?
You can't do it on this ship because you can't get to the bow. The bow is for employees only. They have their own pool and their own deck up there. They get the best seat in the house is for the employees, which I think is really commendable for the cruise ship.
Yeah, that's definitely cool for them. Now the question is though, if you were able to do the Titanic reenactment, if you're wondering like, what are we talking about? We're not talking about like hitting an iceberg and sinking. We're talking about the, stretching out with your arms. Would you be Jack or Rose?
I would be Rose.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
For sure.
I will definitely, I couldn't see it any other way. So.
Yeah, Mary would hold me for sure. We actually did a video on Disney Dynamics a long time ago where the thumbnail was her doing that to me on the People Mover.
I have to go look at that.
Yep.
All right, now
always stuff to do.
I don't know if you've been following the time, but actually we're creeping up on our 2-hour mark. So just a couple few more questions here, and then we're gonna wrap it up for the day. We'll be back on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and maybe we might have to cover some more of this stuff. But any hilarious encounters with the ship's residents, pirates, mermaids, anything that you were just like unexpected moment on this cruise?
There was, I wouldn't say hilarious, but it was a moment for sure. The first day, and it usually happens on the first day, people party a little too hard. And one person in particular, I'm not going to get into details, but he partied way too hard.
He was supposed
to had
at night.
Yeah, he should have been in bed already. But that's the craziest thing about cruise ships. You get cruise friends, and people that have been on cruises will know what I'm talking about. You start running into people, and you continually, start having conversations, and then you end up specifically hanging out on purpose. That is one of my favorite parts about being on a cruise is meeting new friends and seeing people that you've seen before and catching back up and all that kind of stuff. That is the cool part. But as far as like, I don't know, a lot of people fall a lot because the ship deck gets pretty wet. So luckily nobody was seriously hurt, but it was mostly the funny ones are when people just slip a little bit and scream, and but they're fine and they don't hit the ground. Yeah. Or they just toss their drink. Those are pretty good. It was a fairly uneventful cruise as far as like there were no fights. There were none of that, and for being a spring break cruise, I was a little nervous about stuff because people get, a little claustrophobic, and not that it is by any means. I mean, unless you've been on one, it's like a giant skyscraper.
I was actually worried about that on our cruise, the first one we took, because we had an inside cabin, and not that I like suffer from major claustrophobia, but I kind of like having a window. Like I want, a place to see out. But I didn't feel that way. Like, I mean, it was great. I mean, inside now, I'd much prefer having an outside cabin with either a window or a balcony. But no, yeah.
Yeah, it was good, but there was nothing weird at sea. You know, we've picked up people that were stranded in boats before. We've, you know,
Oh,
there's situations that happen at sea sometimes, and we didn't have any of that. It was very smooth sailing, I will say. No big storms. We did have a couple choppy days, but not too bad. And
bye,
yeah,
honey.
it was. I'm still here, sweetie. um, no, it was good. It was very probably our most uneventful cruise where everything went smoothly, and it's the first time we were on that ship that was completely full.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, I guess then that is a good transition to kind of go through, why we're here and what we can provide for you. And, there we are, Florida Vacation Network. But we're not just a channel on YouTube. We are also a source for you to plan your Florida vacation. And you got to get started, right? The first thing you got to do is actually give us a call, contact us at notjustcruising.com, and we can help book your Florida vacation. We can send you off to the Caribbean. We can send you overseas to uh, over to Europe. I know we've got some people going to Italy. Melanie is an Ireland expert. And when I say that, I'm not just saying that. I mean, she actually did the Ireland training and got her Ireland certificate. So we're not just cruising. The cruises are a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. If you want a great vacation, you're going to want to go on a cruise, but we can do all of it. We can do all of it. And you got to take the first step and go to notjustcruising.com. And then once you get to your destination here in Central Florida, you're going to want a ride from the airport to your resort. And you don't want to go in an Uber or a Lyft. You don't know who those people are. They might not talk. They might just be kind of curmudgeoned. You want Chris to pick you up at the airport, and he's got a beautiful car or truck, depending on your need. And he can pick you up and take you to a resort. When you get there, if you need a mobility scooter, Park Hopper Choppers is Central Florida's best mobility scooter rental company. Contact them at 407-989-9618 or go to parkhopperchopper.com. And then once you leave your destination here and you're on your way back, maybe you forgot to pick up that Rice Krispie treat that you wanted. Contact us at mainstreettreat.com. We've got boxes. We've got specials all the time that will send you treats from Disney or Universal. Don't forget Universal. They have some of the best fudge on the planet. I love their fudge over there at Universal. And we'll pick that up and put it in a box, ship it to wherever you live. We do ship overseas. So if you're watching us here and you're like, wait a minute, I'm over in Ireland. We have shipped to Ireland before. So let us know what it is you want. Go check us out at mainstreettreat.com, where you'll also find the tab for fun and fancy freight. So if you didn't pick up that piece of 50th merch and you're really hoping that you get some before the 50th merch runs out, you're going to want to go over to mainstreettreat.com, click on fun and fancy freight at the top of the page, and order your box. You can get treats and merch over at mainstreettreat.com. All right. Well, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you back in Florida. I know that you were having an amazing time on your cruise and didn't want to take that away from you, but it's fun. And I think we have some fun stuff coming up here on Florida Vacation Network.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to start expanding out and hitting some SeaWorld and hitting some Universal and hitting some Legoland. We need to cover more of Florida. We wanted to get this cruise in, and of course, we're always going to cover Disney. I would guess at least once a week out of the 3 days, bare minimum. But yeah, we're going to bring it all and show you why you got to get down here, not just for Disney, of course, for Disney, but there's so much to do. We are so lucky to live in this wonderful place.
Yeah, and we definitely want you to come visit us here. But for now, check us out right here Monday. We are Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Right here on Florida Vacation Network on YouTube. So All right. Well, any final thoughts, Chris? Anything that you didn't feel like we covered, or are we going to save it for Wednesday?
No, I think possibly Wednesday. I do want to get a little bit more of the videos and the pictures and stuff of the cruise, just because people hear about cruising all the time, and if you've never been, there's a lot of stigmas about cruising that people have in their mind about how busy it is or what the food is like and what the destinations are like, and it is just, hey, Katie, welcome. You are an amazing person. We love seeing you in here. You're all this artwork that you see is that lady right there. That's all out of her brain for Florida Vacation Network. So thank you so much for that.
We'll be calling you later. Maybe. So.
Yeah, but no, I want to just clear up some of the stigmas about cruising, because people are missing out on an inexpensive, amazing, lifelong memory that you get from those ships. And I can't stress it enough. If you've never been, you gotta try it. It's so good.
And we have the ability to do that for you. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we will see y'all on Wednesday, 10 a.m. I'm sure on Wednesday we're going to be coming to you from a park, maybe seeing some new stuff, checking out. Maybe, I don't know.
As long as you're sure.
All right. Well, I guess then we're going to wrap this up, and we'll see you again on Wednesday. If you haven't subscribed or smashed the like button, if you could do that on the way out, and definitely click that bell, because we'll be throwing up some shorts and some uploads and letting you see some other content. You just never know. Maybe we'll just pop into some random live, and you're not going to want to miss it. Also, go check out our individual channels, Disney Dynamics and Disney Connections, here on YouTube. And you'll see some other content that is Disney related. And you're not going to want to miss it. So, all right. Well, I don't really have a sign off. So I guess for now, we'll just say goodbye and see you the next time.
Hope you're having a great day.